If we take a look at a question like this one, there appears to be quite a lot going on within the equation. There is an addition operation, the use of brackets, a division, an index or order, and also a multiplication involved. Each of these is referred to as an operation, and we must complete all of them in a very specific and logical sequence. It is not acceptable to simply begin at the left-hand side and proceed through the problem in a straight line without considering the correct order. To help us keep track of the proper sequence in which to perform mathematical operations, we can use a helpful acronym known as BODMAS or alternatively BODMAS. Both of these acronyms mean exactly the same thing, with the only difference being the second letter, which can either be an O representing orders or an I representing indices, depending on which version you have learned. Each letter in the acronym represents a different mathematical operation, and the order of the letters tells us the precise order in which to solve the parts of a mathematical expression. So to begin, we always start with anything inside brackets. Next, we look for the order or index, which refers to the small raised number that appears when you square or cube a number and is often referred to as a power. After dealing with indices, we move on to any division, then multiplication followed by addition and finally subtraction. One important note to remember when it comes to division and multiplication, as well as addition and subtraction, is that you should always begin with whichever operation comes first from the left side and move to the right. For instance, if you are faced with a question that contains a series of additions and subtractions, you do not need to perform all the additions before doing any subtractions. Instead, you should simply work your way from left to right, following the order in which they appear. Now, going back to our example problem, the very first thing we should do is look inside the brackets. The only operation within the brackets is a division, so we go ahead and solve that straight away. We take 18 and divide it by 6, which gives us the result of 3. Since 3 is now the only value remaining within the brackets, we can remove the brackets entirely. The new equation becomes 3 plus 3 squared times 2. According to the order of operations, the next step is to deal with the index or power. In this case, 3 squared means 3 multiplied by itself, which equals 9. Now the equation is 3 plus 9 times 2. The next operation in line would be division, but since there is no division present in this particular problem, we move on to multiplication. We take 9 and multiply it by 2, which results in 18. So now we are left with 3 plus 18. The final step is to perform the addition, which gives us the final answer of 21. Let us look at another example to solidify our understanding. First, we check for any brackets, and in this case, we find 2 sets of brackets. We can choose to work on either one first, but generally, it is easier and more natural to begin on the left and proceed to the right. Starting with the bracket on the left, we notice that there is an order or power of 2 written outside the bracket, but since it is not within the bracket itself, we do not consider it just yet. Instead, we focus only on what is inside the bracket. Within this bracket, the first thing we handle is the index of 2 applied to the number 4, which is 4 squared, resulting in 16. So now we have 16 minus 6 times 2 inside the bracket. Since there is no division, we proceed with multiplication. 6 multiplied by 2 equals 12. Now we are left with 16 minus 12, which results in 4. Having completed the operations inside this first bracket, we can now rewrite our equation as 4 squared divided by another bracket containing 4 divided by 2 times 4, followed by a plus 7 at the end. Moving on to the second bracket, we see that it contains a division and a multiplication. According to our rules, we start with the division. For divided by 2 gives us 2. Next, we multiply that 2 by 4, which equals 8. So our updated equation now reads 4 squared divided by 8 plus 7. At this point, all the brackets are gone, so we next address the order on the number 4. 4 squared equals 16. Now we divide 16 by 8, resulting in 2. Finally, we perform the addition, 2 plus 7, which gives us the final answer of 9. That is essentially everything you need to know to understand the BODMAS, or BODMAS method properly. If I could offer one key piece of advice, it would be that the most difficult part about this concept is simply remembering to apply it. Often, people make mistakes not because the operations are difficult, but because they forget to use the correct sequence. So every time you encounter a mathematical equation, just take a moment to think about the BODMAS method and carefully consider which operation should be performed first. This simple habit can prevent many common errors. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this explanation and found it helpful in some way. If you did, please consider sharing it with your friends, and with any luck, we will see you again soon.